Well, gentlemen, you are welcome. Again, I stand on the existing protocol earlier, so very well established. I can see the immediate past vice president of the bar, the Democrat. I see you. And again, everyone is acknowledged. For our colleagues, our young lawyers, we take our time to thoroughly appreciate you for your time coming in here today. And we do hope that from the keynote speaker, from the speaker, Are Muyiwa Kimboro SAN, Mr. President Mazi Afam Osigwe, Emeka Obegalu SAN, and a few of the other speakers, earlier speakers, you must have learned quite a lot. Of course, we heard former Speaker of the House of Reps, Right Honorable Dogara, and Emi Abubakar, who spoke about the endless possibilities and the future of the bar, for which all of us should be beneficiaries. I do believe that we would learn a thing or two from there. Before getting into this discourse today, I'd like to take our time to thank very specially Najib Waziri and his eminent team of young lawyers and the leadership who have done so very well in putting together this conference. And we have seen qualitative panels from the earlier speakers, and this team, this creme de la creme of speakers that we have with us here to deliberate on our issues for today. Without wasting too much of our time, I'd like to right away get on to where we are on this program. Speakers have already been introduced to you, beginning from Wada, our brother Wada there, who also doubles as a practitioner and severally in the ESCO and currently midwifing in the office of the Attorney General of the Federation. Once more, I welcome you, sir. I welcome you. I go to the Attorney General of Kebbi State, who have weathered the storm all the way, coming from Kebbi State to meet us here. If you look at his profile, you would appreciate the fact that he's been in and out of the academia. He's been in the academia, he's also been in real life public service. And we will engage him, and he will share with us all of the benefit of that experience, and we would all be the better for it. So the learned Attorney General, I welcome you, and I thank you so very specially. I'm talking about Professor Marshall. You're most welcome, sir. Your worship is here. May I go to the right, extreme right, and I talk about your worship. I'd like to call her my Lord, because from an experience I had way back growing up, we made a mistake of calling a judge, a high court judge, your worship, and he said, don't take me there. And then we learned to call your worships my Lord, as well as my Lord's my Lord. So when we call my worships, your worships my Lord, they take special acknowledgement to the fact that you wish me well and you pray for me. May your Lord prayers be answered. So my Lord, you're welcome. She's your worship, my Lord, Amwache Ogwamaka Onyedum. And I believe she's been so well introduced. One of our panelists is not here, who is Twebi, so I will not speak about that now. But I'll go to my very special friend and brother, Numa, MJ Numa. Whenever I remember MJ, it reminds me of the legendary Michael Jackson. But this one, what Michael Jackson does on the stage, he does in court. So, MJ Numa, SAN, especially, I'd like to acknowledge you and welcome you once more. Numa shares the attribute of being one of the youngest SANs ever produced in our country. And we can tell very clearly that it is a product of diligence and hard work. And you see his advocacy in court, you see his work with clients in and out of Nigeria. You know that is someone we really ought to be very proud of. So I do know that our young lawyers here are so very proud to have you here. Noma, once more, you're most welcome. Now we have a blend of the academia and the practitioners. So Professor Lady Tan, who traverses Nigeria and beyond and is well known in the area of natural resources, public law, and beyond, having studied both in Nigeria and outside. He's here today to give us perspectives that will benefit us all as we explore these limitless possibilities of today. So, Prof, you're most welcome. Then I go to, sorry, I thought, okay, Bill Casey is on the next panel, right? Prof, okay, I'm so sorry. Then I go to my own sister, and I like the way Shehu calls her, Ogunlano. You know, I'd like to very specially welcome Mojirayo Ogunlano. I think I'm calling it like a Yoruba man now. You know, usually I would say it's Ogunlana. Like in Lagos we used to talk about Ogunlana Drive, but I know now that it's actually Ogunlano. So you're so very welcome, very especially welcome. Our topic of today is very, very clear. We all are in the picture of it. And I'd like to set the ball rolling by calling, first of all, on Prof to set the ball rolling by giving the opening shot. We have barely five minutes or so each. Each speaker will have 5 minutes. And of the 5 minutes, speaking about practice opportunities from the perspective of the practitioner and the academia, so that we both can get a blend of the theory, even though academia is no longer theory these days, and the practice, the experience from the foundation to the practitioners. And we see what opportunities there are for us as young lawyers. Truth of the matter is that if you understand the opportunities that you have early enough in life, it helps you in understanding, putting you in a position where you can make informed decisions as to what area of practice you want to delve into. So I would first like to call on, let me begin with the Prof. Professor Marshall, Attorney General of Kebbi State. May I begin with you? Can we give us the opening shot as we talk about opportunities? And you want to tie it to limitless, the unlimited nature of the potentials that we have. But what are the opportunities that are available to our young lawyers today that we can say these areas are areas that from a bird's view we see that there are potentials here and here and here that can guide us in having an informed decision as to what path to follow as we evolve into, you know, greater practice. Prof, sir.
Okay, this one. Thank you very much for the opportunity to start here. I think whichever way you are going to look at it, there are limitless opportunities out there. It all depends on the mindsets of a young lawyer who has the passion to go for it. For instance, when you want to venture into practice, you have to understand from the onset that you have yourself to actually believe for you to succeed in practice. And just like the previous speakers in the morning shared with us, that it all depends on the mindset of a young lawyer who wants to succeed in practice. And if you look at the areas of the practice that you want to venture into, that will virtually gives you an opportunity to say, okay, this is the area that I really want to develop, or this is the area that I want to pursue in order to succeed in practice. But by and large, all you need to do is to identify from the onset that this is what I want to achieve in this legal profession. Let me just give you an example of what happened when I was called to the bar. I was offered an opportunity to serve in the Nigerian custom, and I promptly rejected that offer because at that moment I had the intention of going for my master's. So my friends were saying that, look, this is an opportunity that you can capitalize on and go into this. But I said, no, this is not exactly what I wanted to do from the beginning. So I won't go for it. So sometimes you have to make sure that what you want is exactly what you should look for. Forget about the public opinions of this is what is good for you or this is what you can get out of this. So from the onset, you need to identify exactly what we want to achieve in the legal profession. And you have to identify the areas that you are really interested in. And virtually once you do that, the next thing you need to do is to look at those that have succeeded in that particular area. That is to say, the mentorship. Mentorship in a particular area of interest is extremely important. I will also give an example with myself in this particular regard. When I was appointed as lecturer 2 in the university, I was accompanying one professor of law to his lecture rooms, and then a colleague called me and said, "Why are you following a lecturer? Is he not a lecturer too?" I said, "No, this is all about mentoring, because you need to learn from the senior colleagues for you to develop yourself in that particular area." And I can comfortably tell you today that mentorship meant a lot to me in developing myself in the academia. So these are some of the things that you really need to look at from the beginning to identify the areas that you are interested in. You have to look at those that are going to mentor you in that particular area. And then the third issue is you have to identify your potentials. It's not just interest in a particular area or the mentorship in that particular area. You have to understand the fact that yes, you have interest in that area, and you also have the capability to stand the critical nature of that particular area that you intend to venture into. So you have to also identify your capacity and your capability to go through a particular area. Just like you earlier stated that Numan SAN is here. I happened to meet him at a very critical time of my life, and the passion that he demonstrated at that particular moment says a lot about this thing. So by and large, all you need to do is to identify. There are many areas that you can venture into, and it's not for me to say, okay, go into this, because the opportunities are there, whether in the academics, whether in the bench, whether in the legal practice. And character is also another important thing that you really need to, because at the early stage of your practice, your clients will define who you are, how trustworthy you are, how you conduct yourself at the courts, and how you treat their cases is also important, because that is the only way you can be able to establish trust with your clients, and then you make things go in from that angle. I will also use myself as a case study here. Until the 18th of August 2023, when I was appointed the Attorney General of Kebbi State, I had no previous discussion with my principal. That is to say, he has been my client for more than 15 years. And the very moment when he sent my name to the House of Assembly as a nominee for the office of the Attorney General, he hasn't discussed that with me. And he told me that, look, I want you to appoint you as an Attorney General, and I had already forwarded your name to the House of Assembly because I have looked inward, and I think that there is nobody I can trust with that office more than yourself. And all this is because of the trust and the relationship we built over the years. And here we are today that he decided to appoint me as his Attorney General because of that relationship that existed between us prior to the appointment. So what I'm trying to say here is the way you conducted yourself with your clients' cases, their activities, says a lot in grabbing the opportunities that are there in the practice. So whichever way you decided to go for, definitely you have to look at these issues for you to succeed in that particular area. I think I will say thank you for now and wait for it. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Prof. All right. Thank you very much, Prof. That was a very good one. I'll come back to you. Can someone hear me? I don't know if I'm...
Technical crew, please. Maybe you should look into this device. Well, just in a summary, what Prof. the learned Attorney General of Kebbi State has said is, first, you need to identify opportunities. In identifying opportunities, fora like this and listening to eminent personalities like this would help you know what opportunities there are, and then you can identify them. In his own case, he turned down apparently a lucrative offer to work in the customs because he knew where he was going from day one. He chose to do a master's degree rather than go into the immediate gains of employment as a customs officer. So you can see that in making your decisions, sacrifices, and the fact that you're not looking at the immediate gains that are going to come for your benefit is a critical ingredient in arriving at a decision. One of the things he said is that pay attention to those who succeeded before you. You see Akimboro, Muya Akimboro, for instance, is a great success. You want to know what did he do to become this successful. You see Mazi Afam Osigwe, Olani Pekun, SAN, Austin Alege, Didi Dodo, Newman, MJ Newman. You see personalities like this. Those in the academia, you see them succeed. You ask yourself, what did they do? You want to identify with them and learn from them. These are people, and then of course, if corporate practice is an area of your interest, who are the big players in the corporate practice area of law practice? Identify them, and then you begin to seek their mentorship. Of course, the learned Attorney General talked about mentorship. And the fact, one thing I saw from what he said was that in all of these things, character, integrity, and humility is important. He could have said, hey, look, I'm a lecturer, you're a lecturer. I'm a lawyer, you're a lawyer. What are you going to teach me? But no. As a young lawyer, as a young lecturer, he identified a professor who was far his senior and chose to say, look, I will have him as a role model, I will have him as a mentor, and I will learn from him. While he was, humbling himself to learn from this prof, other people, maybe out of arrogance or ignorance, I would like to say, were like, what's the problem? Why are you trying to unduly be, But there was something he learned from there. And today, by the grace of God, he's a professor. He's the Attorney General of Kebbi State. So something I also learned from what he said is the fact that, what I didn't ask is that, sorry, were you in politics? He wasn't in politics. He was not a politician. Politicians were busy campaigning day and night, lobbying back and forth for offices. He remained as a professional. But of course, as a professional, his character and integrity in his relationship with a client was all there spelled out. And so when the time came, the governor didn't need to look any further. He knew that, look, here is a core professional who will give me professional advice as Attorney General. and he went for him. But if he was not diligent in his work, he probably wouldn't have become the Attorney General. He didn't lobby for it. So that's something that we all learn from. Once more, congratulations, landed Attorney General. I thought we'll get a round of applause for him, gentlemen. So your relationship with your clients actually pay. Build it and let it endure. So we've heard from Prof. I'll go to Wada before coming to my sister. So Wada would say a thing or two about that. I know we have 5 minutes, and I know Wada will very quickly be called back to the office of the Attorney General. I think it's Attorney General and Attorney General we're having on one side here. All right. Thank you very much. Wada, please. Okay, use this. Technical, please. Your mics are not working. Could you do something about that?
Thank you very much, Leonard Sexer. Distinguished participants, distinguished panelists, a very good afternoon. I want to share my perspective on this theme of this summit, which is limitless possibilities unlocking the powers of young lawyers. And please permit me to share my experience from my own perspective. As Leonard Silk rightly said, the keywords are humility, integrity, and character. These 3 points defines the kind of person you are, and it entails so much about you. The most important thing I take home is, or rather, the most important thing for young lawyers is to develop themselves in areas they believe they can excel in life. For me, how it works for me, I want to practice as a lawyer. I want to be a courtroom lawyer. So I pick up the job, and when I started, I told myself that I'm not going to stay long there because I wanted to practice on my own, but I need pupillage. So I spent like 11, 12 years at the Ministry of Justice, and I left, and I opened up my law firm. So within these years, I developed myself where I picked up some mentors across board from the northern part of the country and from the southern part of the country. And I've followed these mentors closely, and I've learned a lot from them, which I will advise you young lawyers here to always pick up and select mentors that will mentor you in this profession. You never can tell what these mentors will do for you in life. For me, I am where I am today by the grace of God and because of one of my mentors in this legal profession. This is my mentor that I've been with for close to 10 years. And when he was consulted to give a nomination for an appointment as special assistant to the president in the office of the Attorney General of the Federation, he never hesitated. Without me knowing, this mentor of mine gave out my name. I never knew this is where I'm going to be today. But because I've been with him, probably he has seen something in me which I don't know, but he nominated me for this appointment. So as a young lawyer, believe in what you are doing, select mentors that will mentor you, and you can never tell what these mentors will do for you in life. And also engage in networking. Network with not only lawyers, network with people from other fields, from other endeavors. If you are in practice, this will go a long way in helping you to get more and more clients. Therefore, you have a lot of opportunities in the public sector as a young lawyer. For now, I'll stop here. Maybe I'll come back later. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I think in order not to overshoot, and then we manage our time here, I'd like to appoint, I think we'll appoint someone to be our timekeeper. Once it's 4 minutes, I get an indication, and then by the 5th minute, I get that sign, and then with that sign, I will indicate. I think you would be my timekeeper in that regard. Is that fine? Say again? To end this, you see what I'm saying? Okay, so yes, may I apply for extension of time? Meanwhile, we'll take note of that. As lawyers, we are entitled to ask. Yes. So we will make it brief as much as we can now, but please indicate to me once we are 3 minutes or so for each person, okay, before I do a total roundup. Bearing in mind that constraint now, our strategy will just be that we will just take all together and then just speak to all of it as a review, okay? So I will go to my sister right away, Ogunlana, and she will have her bite, and then we'll learn from all that she knows. It won't be easy telling us all you know in just very few minutes, but we'll learn so much from that. Yes.
Thank you very much, sir. Distinguished Leonard Silk, elders in the room, seniors and colleagues. So I think one thing that I've always believed in is the place of passion in whatever you want to do. I believe that passion is the foundation and it's your driver. And as you know, there's a cliche that says that passion is not enough. You know, you have to go the extra mile. It's as simple as that. It's as real as that word, that phrase is. I remember when I was a teenager, I would join my father. I think the place of my father also defined that I would be a human rights defender or advocate today. He was a very principled man, very full of integrity. Then I had a grandpa too, who was a very disciplined man. Integrity he was taught. My grandfather was taught by people like Cheshire and Fivefoot. He was taught by Lord Denning. He was in Oxford University. So he was more of a law giant, but never got called to the bar. Funny enough, that's another story. So I had these people before me, and there were things that they would do, and I didn't know that I had started building my passion from there. And so I have always loved to fight for people's rights. I've always believed in the freedom of expression, freedom to associate, freedom to assemble, Law firms from the UK, because they were like, they wanted people who do digital rights in Nigeria, and I was available to do digital rights, and I started it. So as I'm speaking now, I have done cases like filing cases against governments in West Africa on internet shutdown. I've done against Amnesty International Togo case. Has to be the landmark case when it comes to internet shutdown. Then against the government of Senegal, against the government of Guinea, and like that, even against the Nigerian Twitter, 222 days of Twitter. And when you look at the digital rights space, you would look at it from the perspective of, we don't have laws, that actually talk about the digital space. But the truth of the matter is, What happens in the offline space is what happens in the online space. The difference is just the environment. So I'm bringing this to your attention as an opportunity to see beyond the physical space that you are in, and begin to look at things in the online space, because the digital space is really going to take over the world, actually, in the future, actually. Thank you very much.
I'm sure a lot of our colleagues will have a lot of questions for you. And remind me, I'll have one or two questions for you too. So we'll proceed to the right now, and we'll begin with my Lord, and hear her take on this before we come closer home. So, Your Worship. That mic may not be working. So, oh, yours works.
Okay.
You see, my Lord's mic worked.
Thank you very much, and I appreciate the organizers of this program for this opportunity. Now, look at the girl behind you. She is an epitome of a lawyer, a gentleman in skirt. These were the words of one of the judges here in FCT some years back, when I appeared before her for the first time. We all looked back. I myself thought she was referring to someone behind me. She didn't know me. I appeared before her for the first time. While she saw me looking back, and every other person, she said, "No, you, I mean you." She described, I think, the hair I had on or something, and it turned out to be me. I was surprised. And in my mind, I was like, what have I done? This takes me to what I'm going to talk about today. I chose to speak on the word cradling the foundation of your law practice. For me, it's not an interesting topic to discuss, but I saw it was apt for today, and that was why I chose to go by it. I was privileged to have a presentation ready for this, but for want of time, I'll quickly speak to it and we'll move forward. Now, looking at the aims of this summit, it says, tell your story, learn from it, share knowledge. I am that girl who became a lawyer just because she saw someone on the telly when she was 8 years old. And her father asked her, what do you want to be in future? I didn't know what he meant, and I just pointed, Daddy, I want to be like that man. He was one of the, I think he was a high court judge or so. That was how it stuck. And I am living the life. I took up the passion. Nobody forced me to, I chose to. Like some of the speakers have said, you must have the passion. I am that girl who has clothed herself with positivity, contentment, and the zeal to excel. Okay, I think it's working. These are the food required to build the foundation of a lawyer, and without these things, you may never unlock those potentials. A lot has been said. The list is truly limitless. So you need to work on your foundation as a lawyer, be it a 1-year protocol, 7 years, 10 years, 50 years. Your foundation is very important. It doesn't matter whether you started right or wrongly. You need at this stage to go back to your roots. Find out how you started. How have you been going? Don't be ashamed to knock off the areas that are not working well and rebuild. If we have builders in the house, a time comes when you need to knock down an entire building just to fix the foundation. Another time comes when you don't need to put down the entire foundation, rather you put blocks on both sides and give it support, then you build up. When you see such buildings, you never know that there was a renovation or it was never like that. That takes us to our practice as lawyers, be you in the corporate world or in litigation or any aspect whatsoever, the academia. You need to go back to your roots. Your foundation is very important. Now, there are certain elements that helps you build your foundation. That takes us to how you started. What do you have? Do you have the passion? Is the zeal there, or you were forced to do it? Now, it doesn't matter whether you were forced to do it or not. Many people started as lawyers without the passion, but somewhere along the line, they built it, they lived it, and they are people today, as you have heard some of the speakers today. Now, that takes us to, where do you begin? It's unpopular, but I advocate for every lawyer to begin in a law firm. Be you the some people know that they don't want to be litigation lawyers from inception, so they go to corporate. Now, you become outstanding when you start in a law firm. Another is, who do you know and who knows you? You think about godfatherism. No, that's too cheap. For godfatherism, it's very cheap. But you should leverage on building networks, just as the other panelists have said. For want of time, I will give my presentation to the organizers to make it available, because there are recommendations there that will help you and build you up in future. Thank you.
Thank you very much, my lord. I hate to be the harbinger of, I hate to be the one to stop my lord, but I just had to do it. But there's so much my lord has to offer, and I'll ask her a lot of questions as we move along. And there's so much I would have to learn from her also, from her experience, and I urge all of us, as much as we can, to link up with her and learn from her what you're unable to learn within the 2 minutes or 5 minutes or so that she has here. So I'll proceed to Prof now, and then I'll take a review of it all together. So Prof, sir. Okay, your mic, yes.
Thank you, Lanet Silk, Chief Paul Ogboli, and of course, good afternoon, distinguished participants. My approach is going to be slightly different from the previous speakers. My intervention is going to be looking basically at the opportunity in the academia. So why would you want to be an academic? Why would you want to work as an academia? And to answer that question, the responsibility of an academic is in threefold. And these are, number one, teaching, number two, research, and number three, community service. Now, I will speak a bit on the three components of your role as an academic in the academia. So number one, teaching. What do you do teaching? Well, under teaching, you have about 5 basic components. Number one, knowledge transfer. Number two, capacity building. Number three, mentoring. Number four, nurturing, as has been identified by previous speaker. So I'm not going to go into mentoring and nurturing because the previous speakers have spoken about that. So let me focus a little bit on knowledge and capacity building. So when it comes to knowledge transfer, now there's something called sharing knowledge and passing knowledge to the other people in order to impact them. Now, there's what we refer to as tacit knowledge, and there's what you call explicit knowledge. Tacit knowledge is inbuilt in almost every one of us. And so what we do in the academic as teachers or as lecturers is to bring out that tacit knowledge in the individual and leverage it across board, making it an explicit knowledge. So these are some of the things we do in terms of knowledge transfer and capacity building. Now, when you now look at it, so what exactly will be the benefit of you being an academic? Some of the benefits of being in the academia is your reputational capital. There's a whole lot of capital in terms of the respect you have and the people you are able to build. Now, let's use storytelling. Recently, I attended the commissioning of a law office, and it's a joy that some of the students I taught were opening a very big partnership here in the city of Abuja. Now, it's also a joy to see that some of the students I've taught are director generals, some have become senior advocates. I've supervised about 3 senior advocates of Nigeria. And so those sort of seeing people doing very well, it gives you a lot of joy as an academic. So that's one perspective. So the second perspective is my field is the field of energy and natural resources law. So what opportunities within the energy and natural resources field? You have a lot of, I'll try and round up before 2 minutes. You have a lot of opportunities. Well, energy and natural resources covers, oil and gas, electricity law, and all of that. As, 3 components as an energy practitioner. Number 1, transactional advisory. Number 2, you have contractual negotiation and execution. Number 3, you have what we'll call basically regulatory compliance. Okay, so let me focus a bit on number 1, which is, okay, and then you also have the transaction advisory. Now, before coming into the academia, I had been in private practice, and I have, the oil and gas sector is a capital-intensive sector. Now, it has afforded me to interact and negotiate contracts with very top law firms across the world. You must have heard of Clifford Chance, you've heard of White & Case, Allen & Overy. I have sat on the same table with most of their partners negotiating deals for the Nigerian government. So there is limitless opportunity for you in the field of oil and gas and energy. Now, finally, as we all know, we're going through what we refer to as energy transition phase. And so the potentials of energy transition is another thing you want to take advantage of. And now an aspect of energy transition that is not so well known to so many people at the moment is hydrogen. Hydrogen is coming up as, a product. And some issues will revolve around hydrogen, such as the contractual arrangement, the statutory framework, and so many. So you have limitless opportunity, both in the academia and in the field of oil and gas. Thank you.
I don't know if, Prof has so much to offer, but we're sorry that time is playing a trick on us. Now, this is like saving the best for last. Once again, we would hear, as I introduce my brother, you can see that the advocate that he is, he just stepped out of court to come here. He was here much earlier, he left to court, and then came back from court straight to attend to our program here. MJ Numa once more, SAN once more, please, we appreciate you. Now we'll hear your take on our subject. You're welcome.
Thank you very much, Leonard Senior Advocate. And thank you for inviting me to share my thoughts on this summit. The beauty about speaking last is that you've had the privilege of hearing from other speakers. So I'll just crave your indulgence to adopt all their perspectives that have been shared, which I adopt as mine. Brilliant perspective being shared by every member of the panel here. Now, I'll just, for want of time, situate my interventions in a very brief context. The topic today, which borders on limitless opportunity, is very simple. As a lawyer, when you're qualified in Nigeria, you're given a certificate that makes you an advocate and a solicitor. That in itself creates an array of opportunities for you. The reason why that combination was very deliberate. The translocation of the common law system into Nigeria was done by the British. At the time, in England, there was still that bifurcation between solicitors and advocates. But essentially because in the early 30s and early 40s, the folks that were practicing law in Nigeria as a colony of England were white folks, the English lawyers, Irish lawyers, and Pakistani lawyers. And when the Supreme Court's domestication was done for barristers and solicitors was to enable indigenous lawyers to get work. Because the big boys, the UAC, the DHL, are not going to give you work that the Irish and the other folks have actually gotten. So to enable you compete, there was that bifurcation, that combination of a barrister and a solicitor to enable the indigenous lawyers thrive in that very competitive space before the passage of the LCA. Now, what I was saying in essence is that no two lawyers can be the same. I've had the perspective of the mentorship, which is very crucial, the pupillage, which is very crucial, but you have to be your lawyer in your own distinct way. And in order to identify that, you must reconcile that with a matter of everlasting value, to the extent that what gives you fulfillment. And I'll put my own situation in context. I started my practice from a traditional dispute resolution family law firm. And for those who know, Karen Atunya and Company was one of the oldest law firms in the city of Abuja. It was a purely dispute resolution family law firm. And I saw an opportunity of what was achievable in space within a limited time. Proportionate efforts, not over effort, maximum results within a limited period. I had the opportunity of interning in different global law firms whilst I was pursuing the postgraduate program. And I had the blend of having a fair understanding of how you could do non-contentious work. But at the end of the day, my resolve to be a trial attorney was a matter of everlasting value, what gives me that satisfaction. So your drive today of what gives you the ability to situate yourself in the practice area that you want is a matter of what do you enjoy doing. And you must ascertain that you have fulfillment in the thing you do. The mere fact that we're trial attorneys and we're called Senior Advocate of Nigeria does not mean that you must take that path. People who do non-contentious work of recent time, as Prof has said, make more money, and more importantly, find fulfillment in what they do in their respective space. So identifying that with a cocktail of experience you've heard in the room is what is very crucial for a long lawyer to strive. Specialization is very crucial. Early specialization is talked against because at the first few years of your practice, you're trying to get your bearing. Whether you want to be a transaction lawyer or be a courtroom advocate is a matter of the same result we're talking about, everlasting value. So I wish you all well as you navigate your path towards situating the interests and the opportunities that are available. Thank you very much, and God bless you.
Thank you very much, Numa SAN. Once more, a round of applause for the panelists. I'll take 2 minutes to give an overview of the discussions, just as discussions of our panelists, and then I'll ask the floor for maybe one question from here, and one from there. But I'll be sure that at least a lady will ask a question. Let me begin this time around first with Numa by just giving a recap of what he told us. Now we understand why one of the principles behind the merger of the role of solicitor and advocate in Nigeria. Because in the UK, what they do is solicitors get the job and they decide which advocate to hire. But here, if you qualify as a solicitor and advocate, then it means you are not shut out in any way. So this is some historical perspective to what we see today as Nigeria practicing as solicitors and advocates. He talked about mentorship. He himself had been mentored over and over and had to undergo pupillage. Take note that in Nigeria those days, before 1985 or so, if you were a lawyer or a doctor, you needed a mandatory period of 3 to 5 years or so of pupillage before you could go and set up your own practice. But the case is different today. You can be called to bar today and appear at the Supreme Court the next day. So pupillage is important. Seek fulfillment. What gives you fulfillment? An area of dispute resolution was one of the areas he found of interest, and he delved into that. And we also are informed that he interned in quite a number of global law firms. So it is possible for you to intern with some global law firms, just like my sister Ogunlana also did. And then practice in the area that you find of interest and try to specialize. Now for Prof. Aledaitan, he told us about the opportunities that are there in the academia. Look, there's a lot of opportunity in the academia. We need to know that. Don't forget that from the academia, Professor Simbanjo, SA, came from the academia and became vice president of this country. So there are a lot of opportunities for lawyers who are in the academia. And he talked about threefold opportunities from teaching, from which you get satisfaction, and your reward is in heaven as well as also here on earth. From research, for which you also get a lot of knowledge and hands-on on acquiring information that will help you as a solution for problems. And then community service. So I can see from the angle of community service how our lawyers in the academia can very easily gravitate to political service. So I talked about knowledge transfer, mentoring, capacity building, and it's a thing of pride that his students have done very, very well. We have seen him do very well also in the area of oil and gas, sitting on the same table as major law firms across the world, negotiating and closing deals. You'll give us a report as to the cash end of that, the cash backing of that side when we leave here. Now, for Wada, he talked about the essence of humility, the essence of integrity and character. And he talked about the need to develop yourself. He turned down quite a number of offers, from administrative jobs and what have you. He also left the federal government job to a state government job where he worked in the Ministry of Justice and then moved on to set up his own practice. It is important for you to have the tools of practice, the tool, access to internet, your law libraries and what have you. Embrace mentorship and engage in networking. Now, Ogunlana talked about passion, and the foundation is also very important. The drive also is in the pedigree. You can take advantage of your pedigree and build on it like she did. She had the passion of human rights, and we can see that she developed from human rights to digital advocacy, digital rights and piracy rights. So from one end to the other end, and she's still evolving. She encourages us all to embrace what is going on globally. And I think outside of here, we'll still reach her to give us what she can give to us. My Lord talked about passion, and it is important for you to know your foundation. Now, when your foundation is faulty, you can build on it by, if you need to break down that foundation and rebuild, you can do that. So all of these things, my own time is already up to. So my time is also up. But in some total, I think we all have learned a thing or two from this very, very eminent panelists that we have. It tells you about the quality of the leadership you have in Abuja Young Lawyers Forum, for them to be able to harness this crop of legal materials, intellectual practitioners, and people who are experienced in various spheres of law to come and render to us their experiences so that we can also live here better than we came. Thank you very much for this. Much as I also wanted to ask you about your Ogunlana. I'm sure somebody will ask you about that. Having been, a child and a grandchild of, first generation lawyers. So I'm sure once you are done, somebody will talk about that. So that said, I thank all of you, and I'd say, can we give a round of applause to our panelists for. I'm told that all questions will be taken after the next session. Am I right? So please take down your questions, and at the next panel, at the end of the next panel, all questions will be put together and asked. So still stay back and interact, and also learn from the next panel. Once more, thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
God bless you.
Thank you so much, sir. So just before you leave, we'll just take a brief
Yes,
session.
okay, I'm told we'll take a panel picture, and then
just present.
Not intend to waste your time, just like the panelists have been introduced. And my name is Dayo Ashodobare. I'm a legal practitioner and a law teacher. I will just go straight into the conversation without wasting much of our time. Our panelists have already been introduced, and I don't think we'll have any problem with that. I think just for you that I know I've been listening to most of your conversations in a lot of events. I have a personal relationship with you. I have a personal relationship with her. In fact, she just threatened me now, but I won't tell you the threat. You understand? So let me say I'm more like I'm at home with the conversation. I think one of my colleagues is also going to join. Went to observe his prayers, Mr. Ibrahim, who also happens to be a very close friend and a callmate at the Nigerian Law School. So hopefully when they come, trust me, it's a panel that you're going to learn a lot from. And what are we looking at? We're looking at diversifying the practice of law. How do you take advantage of other opportunities? Is it just all about objection, my lord? Objection, my lord. After all, most of you will say, who objection help? But the truth is that yes, it has actually helped a lot of people. So basically, what we are doing here, we don't want to repeat. Okay, please clap for my Oga, Dr. Nassim. Thank you very much. Dr. Nassim is somebody I'm also familiar with. So thank you very much, Chairman YLF, for allowing me to be where I will not have any problem. I think me and Dr. Nassim have known each other for a while. We're in the US together, we're in Abuja together. We've done a lot of things together. So please put your hands together for Dr. Nassim. Just like I was saying earlier, we just want to see how do you diversify this practice? How do you bring in your own uniqueness to ensure you have a fruitful practice? And I think that's one of the things we need to do as lawyers. Most of the space, we have a lot of people that have been doing it. And that's why you have all these experts on this stage to try to see how they can shed more light to how they got to where they are now, or how we were, where we were, and how we are where. Okay, the session. So thank you very much. Without wasting much of our time, I want to start with Madam, with Mrs. Bello, to tell us. I don't want us to waste much of your time. Just tell us how you started and how you got to where you are, and how were you able to carve this niche for yourself to, I call her prof, to be able to be where you are today, especially being a woman. I know it's something a little bit that you might want to share with us. So you try to use your mic. So today I will really, you are my prof. So hopefully in the next 3 minutes you start around. I'm not saying you round up in 3 minutes. So please let's put our hands together for Madam.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Dayo, and thank you to the organizers for the invitation. Usually I don't like talking about myself. I would rather talk about what I do. But both the organizers and from what you've heard from the moderator, it seems as if they are more interested in my life story than the practice that I do. My name is Bakisu Saidu. I am from Sokoto State, which is a poor northern state. The area of my practice is energy law and policy, and now an associate professor of energy law and policy. But the aspect of my life that interests many that know me personally is that being from the north, and many of the northerners that are here are aware of it, we tend to go into marriage early. And I got married at the age of 13, and I had my first son when I was at the age of 14, but that didn't really derail my studies. I got to the point where I had my first degree in Usman Affordable University, Sokoto, and I got a scholarship, the British Council scholarship, the Chaplin scholarship, to study my master's in the UK, and I got the Japanese government scholarship to do my PhD in Japan. And I started right away in practice and lecturing, and then I got tapped by the immediate past Vice President to be an advisor in his office, and I became the Senior Special Assistant to the President on legal research and compliance matters for the 2 terms of the administration. So many people ask me, how was I able to do this. If I had the challenge of being given out in marriage at an early age, I think there are a few things that have to do with probably family background, and then some of the things that we've had right from morning about dedication and knowing what you want to achieve as individuals. So my family background, my parents, I had a very strong mother, and my brothers encouraged me to continue along the path of education. But then, right from within me, I knew that that was the path that I wanted to continue along. And to God be the glory, I'm where I am. But the area that I would like to talk about is the area of my practice, that's energy law and policy. And many people tend to think that that's an area that is quite complex and difficult. I'm glad that Professor Alade Chan has already talked about many of the opportunities that we have in that area. The area of energy law and policy truly is complex because energy projects are complex, energy agreements are complex, and in order for you to succeed in that area, you have to be really an expert in many disciplines because energy law cuts across many disciplines. You have to at least have the basic knowledge in geology, in environmental science, in politics, in economics, even in community relations. But over the years, what we have seen is that the knowledge skill, the gap that exists in the knowledge skill in this sector is very wide. Without going into details, I can tell you that when I was in government, I had cause to look at some clauses in the energy agreements, and there are some quite disturbing clauses that have been accepted by those that were tasked with the responsibility of advising the government and presented for the government to agree. And there are a number of cases that are already public knowledge that had to do with some of those laws. Many attribute that to corruption, and I wouldn't say that corruption may not have played a hand in that, but I actually think that that's a simplistic approach. I believe that the absence of the knowledge required for us to know the intricacies of those agreements may have played a hand.
Okay.
Because,
yes, thank you very much. One of the key things is the knowledge. So I'll still come back to you briefly. Just tell us, what is that unique thing that worked for you? Just like we young people always say, what was your selling point? But basically, I will quickly go to right. To just also walk us through your journey. Let us know how you got to where you are today. You are CEO and managing partner. And I've been seeing CEO and managing partner of Fema Advisory for more than 5 years. So please walk us through the journey because we have a lot of young lawyers here that also want to know how you got to where you are.
Okay, can you hear me? Okay, so good afternoon, everyone. I'm so excited to be here. I'm actually jet lagged because I just came into the country yesterday, and but I said I won't miss this for anything. I love every opportunity I have to interact with young people like me. The legal profession is really, really tough, and I would say a round of applause to yourselves for staying the cause. So please, a round of applause for yourselves. I know it's not easy, especially in this current state that we live in this economy. And he talked about the fact that he's been hearing about Fema Advisory for the past 5 years. I think it was fun fact actually. Ibrahim and I set up a law firm, and Ibrahim and I and one other person, or 2 other people set up a law firm, was it 7 or 8 years ago? It didn't work out. Our partnership didn't work out, although we're still very good friends. But then I took this journey, very young and afraid and not knowing what to expect. And you're dealing with a profession that can be very ageist and very sexist. So I know earlier on when you were taking pictures, the lady in front said, there's no woman in the picture, and I just laughed. But you're faced with that kind of challenge most times. You go to court, sometimes when I go with some of my colleagues, male colleagues, the judge is referring to the man next to me, because I think the assumption is that the man always has to be in charge. I go to some of my clients' offices, some of the government agencies that we advise, and sometimes you're coming with someone and they're saying welcome sir to the person and they're ignoring you. So it is very ageist and sexist. However, as a woman you can accomplish great things. As a young lawyer you can accomplish great things. And I'm sure that all the people who have been in the panel before and even this panel are testament to that. The first 2 years was tough because we were trying to do any and everything, taking any amount of money. Sometimes lawyers who come and say, startups, they don't have money, oh please manage this one, and then you're not confident, so you just end up taking anything. But after 2 years, I realized there wasn't a sustainable business model. You have to understand, as a lawyer, especially if you own a firm, it's a business. It's not a passion alone. Yes, you can be passionate about what you're doing, but you need to make money. Not only make money, you need to actually aim to create wealth. I don't like seeing starving lawyers when I see people wearing wig and gown, all that kind of stuff. And you can make it in different areas. This is true. You have to create wealth. A lot of people I know, sound minds, have left the profession because they're not making money. And this is where the MBA comes in. There's so much I really want to discuss with the MBA, but I think this is not the opportunity because lawyers will undercut ourselves, we undersell ourselves. We charge peanuts for transactions, especially in the FCT. So I personally had to diversify away from a lot of sectors that I saw lawyers spoiling. Like I don't even do property law. Because you see, lawyers are supposed to be collecting a certain percentage. We'll be collecting 40,000 naira, 50,000 naira. The MBA needs to do something about that. Because how are we going to create wealth? Generational wealth, if we're collecting 40,000 and 50,000 naira. So there's so much we need to do and we need to know as young lawyers. Number one, you need to be very confident. You need to know your stuff. And that's what has worked for me. Premier Advisory now advises international clients. In fact, we prefer international clients to local clients, but local clients are always trying to own money and all that stuff. Some of the biggest companies in the world, like Apple, some of the biggest international organizations like the European Union, the World Bank, GIC, all this stuff. So that has been the journey. It's not easy. I'm not going to say that it just went from, but with persistency, with hard work, and with the right team. I have some of my team members there, Ipo and Naomi, say hi. Yeah, so with people, the right team, you can accomplish a lot. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Let's give a round of applause for that. You're self-confident and you need to know your worth. And I think just something that happened to me, I think I was just about 1 year at the bar, and someone came to meet me. I know law school is not taught in your head after law, when you finish. So the man told me, well, he gave me an agreement for 2 million. And he said I should draft it for 20,000. I said, no, this is against the rules of professional conduct. I refused to sign that agreement, but I regret not signing that agreement. Because on that day, I didn't have transport to go back out. 11 a.m., the man did not call me back. 12 did not call me back. It was getting to 3 p.m. I said, how far that tenancy agreement now? He said, because you did not do it, I went to a business center to go and sign it. And that day, I didn't get transport to go back home. Now, what did that do to me? It gave me value. Because the next time that man was coming, he didn't know that the reason I did not do it then is because of the whole thing. But after that period, I was able to build that self-value before that particular time. And I think that is why the punching element is also very important. Now, I'll go to my teacher, Dr. Nasir. How many of you are from the University of Abuja here? Okay, so you have to clap. Please put your hands together for Dr. Nasir. Good. So we'll go to Dr. Nasir now to just tell us his own journey. I know he's a clinical teacher, and I understand you also teach cybercrime just like I also do now. Just walk us through your journey too, because we're just trying to see how to be motivated by what you have done and how this can also help us. Thank you very much. I will also come back to you today again. Give us key points. We don't want plenty, all these expenses. Just give us those key points. I believe we just tap into it. We'll tap into money and international clients. Straight up. You understand? Just like my professor there too. We'll come back to you and look at that. But most people don't actually like academics. But it's the big deal now. Okay, sir, please just go ahead, sir. 3 minutes.
Thank you, Dayo, and don't mind Dayo. He always says I'm his program when he's the one that's giving me work. So it's actually not that. Thank you once again, and thank you, dear participants. I honor to come here to discuss, these issues, especially as it relates to the young lawyers. I believe this is the right thing to talk about now, especially because, like everybody has said, lawyers need to start thinking about diversifying, start thinking about starting new things, start to think about not following the usual journey, because probably it doesn't actually work all the time for everyone, so there's need to think about other ways. Well, I'm a teacher, so I don't have a journey kind of to talk about, I would rather talk about the journey I think the young lawyers should be thinking about, especially in respect of cybercrime, cybersecurity, new technologies, Internet of Things, future intelligence, blockchain, cryptocurrency, and all that is now becoming very critical. Now, there's no doubt that the technological advancements have come to stay. There's no way around it. It's not going to come to an end. Rather, it is the beginning. And so it's good for our lawyers, especially young lawyers, to start to carve their space, within these emerging areas. Now, cybersecurity, for instance, we are talking about a lot of areas, including data protection. Today, data has become very, very significant aspect of our lives. So protecting data has become very critical, very important. So lawyers should find their space, especially with regard to advising clients in relation to their data security, in relation to the emerging legal framework for the protection of data. So lawyers should think about specific practice area that relates to that. Because whether clients like it or not, they will have to come to you, because data has become important. Everybody's data, the privacy of everyone's data is now important. Not just personal data, but we are also talking about big data, a kind of official data that is very critical to the security of the entire nation. So I think this is one area. Now, another area related to that is the issue of artificial intelligence. Particularly, we know also that it has become it's part of us now. And a lot of organizations, a lot of clients are asking questions about what is this AI and what do we do about it? How do we know about it? What are the things we should start thinking about, especially in relation to liabilities of artificial intelligence machines, issues of intellectual property, as in relation to AI inventions. There's a lot of debate going on. There's a lot going on in this area. The lawyers need to put their focus on that. And I want to tell you that Nigeria is actually not left back in this regard, because a lot is happening in Nigeria, in relation to new startups, and a lot is going on regarding the AI and how it's impacting different areas of our lives. There's also okay. Okay, so I'm just a teacher. I'm just a law teacher. I'm also a modern law teacher who is developing and pushing students, to become new kind of lawyers and new kind of practitioners. So I think I'm talking about the right thing in the right place. Thank you.
Actually, this my mic is my power, so maybe I should not release it again. Right? What do you think? Oh, okay. So without wasting much of our time, recognize the presence of the learned seal. I don't know, very soon we'll call you sir, chief sir. Please let's give our the learned seal a round of applause. Thank you very much, sir, for coming. So, sir, please permit me, sir. Let me just take the thoughts. Then you help us. follow you. So I want to, just like I was saying, Mr. Yazid has a lot of businesses that he's doing, and he also has some soliciting work that he has been doing. In fact, recently, for those of you that don't know, he was crowned the cleaning king. You understand? So how has he been able to put this business together, going into starting a laundry business as a lawyer, not abandoning, most of you will abandon the practice and go and start air by Deborah. I'm not saying you should not do that, but how have you been able to manage these three together and have a very thriving business even as a legal practitioner? So Mr. Eti, just go ahead and help us speak to it. This one, me and your former teacher. I'll come and grab it. Thank you. Please give him a round of applause.
President. Good afternoon, everyone. How many of us thought of law and felt like it was what we saw in the suits that it would be when we start practicing? Okay, so I in particular watched suits a lot, and I felt like that's what it would be when I entered the law court. I was opportunity to serve in a law firm before going to law school because our school wasn't accredited by law school at the time. So the experience I got in the law firm made me know that litigation wasn't for me, and I was going to go full on into corporate law. So when I was called to the bar, I practiced for about a year before setting up my own firm. And while I started this firm, things that the values I got in law school and even in the law process in entirety, I felt it prepared me for business. I saw an opportunity in my parents' house and I took it. I started a laundry business as a lawyer. An industry where most people will look at as old, mundane, something that is not standard. I used the barista in my name to make it standard. I packaged it very well. I said that when you use our service, is you'll beat me as a file. And I just used everything that I knew. I even introduced something called terms and conditions of service. When you want to deal with my firm, you send me terms and conditions of service before you work with us. And I can dare say that I own one of the most elite cleaning service today in Nigeria. Branches across Abuja, Kano, and we're about to set up in Port Harcourt. I've trained hundreds of people that have delved into the cleaning industry, and I'm currently the president of the Cleaners Network Association, the largest network of food education cleaners. And I'm still a lawyer. I sell properties. I manage my family business because my dad is full on into property. What I'm just trying to say is, in this new generation, we must learn that the values that some of you that are in law school, some of you that are currently practicing today, there are still so many things you can still do without contravening the ethics, first of all, and still making sure that you earn a living. Because like she rightly said, so many lawyers today are walking out of the profession because they feel like they've not been able to create wealth. They are making money, but the money is not enough to create wealth. The economy these days also isn't even helping. So please put in words and find ways to use the values you've gotten as a lawyer to build sustainable businesses for yourself and not contravene our profession. Thank you.
Thank you very much. That was really good. Please let's give him another round of applause. I think this is even maybe you might need to adjust the audio of this one without wasting much of our time. Mr. Ibrahim, I'll go to you now before we go to the learning scene so that we can wrap up in a big way. Now, Mr. Ibrahim is the MD, National Investment Limited. So I just want you to tell us, give us your own story too, because I know at some point you were in practice, at some point you were special assistant to the NBA president, at another point you came back to practice, and one day again I saw an announcement on TV, you're already the MD. How have you been able to navigate this? Should I call it monkey water? Because you are making money now, so we cannot say it's monkey water. So please just run us through that and be able to inspire other young lawyers to learn from this.
Thank you very much, Dayo. It's a pleasure to be here. Even a greater pleasure that I'm sharing the stage with two of my classmates. Fun fact, Dayo and Chine and I went to law school at the same time. So we graduated, we left law school this same, we're made to a co-hosts. So it's a real pleasure. And even more interesting that I used to work here at the NBA house. The last time I was here was about 6 years ago or so. Yeah, 6 years ago. It's a real pleasure to talk to our immediate constituency, young people trying to do great things or doing all-round great things. I'd always say before, our journey, or at least my journey, is one of value addition and resilience and just sheer guts. Be like having the courage to do the unthinkable. I studied law in England, came back to Nigeria. Whilst in England, I could have stayed back. There were opportunities, but my heart was back home in Nigeria, and I knew that I had a greater stake back home. So the likelihood of success, or the kind of success that I wanted for myself, was higher in Nigeria. So I wanted to take a bet in Nigeria. But before then, I had a stint in consulting. So I worked at a consulting firm, came back with that consulting practice as the pioneer associate for the Nigeria office, and then went straight into law school. Immediately in law school, this was when everything began. Whilst in law school, everyone was talking about being at the top law firm, interning at the top law firm, but my mindset in law school was to try and get a top boss and a top mentor. Unlike every other person that was applying to all of the Nigeria Magic Circle firms, I was more keen on really getting a mentor whose practice, whose background resonates with my own aspiration, and I got a mentor. So I wasn't looking for a very high-paying job. It happened to be one, but I looked for a mentor and I got one. And just because this is a learning experience, I'll name names. So I happened to start work and start my career with Eddie Mahmoud at the law firm of Diko and Mahmoud. And it was very simple. I went into the firm, sorry, I'll take a little bit more time, but I think that is an important message. I went into the firm with a strong value proposition. I went with my recommendation reference note from the university and my CV, and I walked into the firm. I was like, hi, my name is Ibrahim. I'm a graduate of the University of Reading. I'd like to apply for an opportunity here. And it was quite unusual at the firm because people just apply and they go. But I dropped and I made an introduction. So I made an impression at the head of chambers at the time. And my application, she took it straight to the learner senior advocate. She didn't wait for it to follow the queue at all because, value proposition was very strong. Like, I am here to change the game. Straight up, I didn't mix words in saying that I was different. And I got the opportunity, and it's the reason why I'm where I am, because that one opportunity I got to leverage on it. And when I started working at the firm, my own conviction was to say, I'm going to be that young lawyer that just gets it done, regardless of the obstacles and whatever. I just presented myself as the guy that would bring results to the firm. And guess what? From that law firm, my boss became the president of the Bar Association, and immediately it was undisputable. I was the best pick to be his technical assistant. And again, traditionally, MBA presidents have president assistants. And at the risk of sounding immodest, but these personal assistants are usually bag boys. They just hold the bags of NBA president. But when it got to my turn, because of value proposition, it was very clear that Ibrahim was not going to be a bad boy. Ibrahim was going to be a key contributor that has something to offer on the table. So my role was changed from personal assistant to technical assistant. And Eddie Mahmoud took me around the whole world. There was nowhere he went that he didn't take me. There were no doors that he had to provide. Okay, so again, it was a great opportunity. It was a life-changing experience. But guess what? After that after that experience at the law firm, at the NBA, again, I quit that very high-paying job with the great opportunity. And I started a practice with Chineye and Co. Even though it didn't work at the time, but we didn't rest on our oars. Chineye and the likes went on to start their own practice. I started my own practice.
We'll come back to that.
And then got into government.
Sorry. Okay, yeah, so wrap up that.
So whilst on my own practice, I was very focused on the niche area. I wanted to be a solicitor and I wanted to be the best at it. I was working on PPPs, transaction advisory, and policy around trade and finance, project finance. It was one of my works that was shared with a gentleman who had at the time become governor-elect by one of my mentors. Here's the work of one of my mentees. This could be of help to you and your administration, Your Excellence, and I was copied in the email. And the next email I got was from the governor-elect to say, oh, I'd like to see this mentee of yours, and the rest is history, and that's the really contribution.
Thank you
so,
very much.
Have a very strong value proposition, be that guy or that lady that's changing the game, that gets things done, and be very courageous.
Thank you very much. Thank you so much. So we go to the next thing now. I know this is a person, right? Please, while I left, let's go. You just have to permit us. I'm not sure we're going to go around a little bit, but we'll soon wrap up. Now, it's not just about coming here and black, and people don't get impact for it. You don't just come here and keep an empty space, and we just talk and nobody gets value for the whole process. So I think it's very important for you to forgive us and let us be able to deliver the session that you're putting to us. Thank you very much. So we go to the learned SAN now. I know you are tired of this question. I know, that's the truth. But the problem here is that you have also been the first. And I think let's give the learned SAN a round of applause. One of the youngest ever appointed to that round. And that is why you need to continue to tell us how you got there. That's just it. I will continue to ask you this question until when we can have enough people that will take over this position as youngest SAN ever appointed. Maybe like 3 years down to when you were appointed. So please, sir, just still motivate us in this process and put into consideration the fact that why I left our husband to remove from this seat to just wrap up. Immediately after that, you just give us your own concluding remarks so that we'll take it round. But let's take that first, then I'll have a follow-up question. We'll take it round and take questions. We are going to take questions in this panel. Please, we're going to take questions, even though it's 1 or 2, so that we can communicate with this people. I know you will not give me this role again, but please let us do this one now. And so that we can. Do I have your nod? Do you agree with me to do that? Yes. Okay, thank you very much. So we'll go ahead, sir. You do that, then we'll wrap up.
Thank you so much for the question. I can refer you to internet. Just Google the answer to the question he has asked, so that I save that space. Interestingly, few months back, one of the gentlemen that got silk, I had actually called him, because there's a tradition for those of us that perhaps came quite early. And I broke Dr. Olanipekun's, that's Dr. Dapo Olanipekun's record, which is 10 years, 6 months. I did mine in 10 years, 4 months. And so there was a gentleman that we're having relation on. I even called to say congratulations. Doctor now called me and said, look, he's 10 years, 5 months and 3 days. Oh, I said I didn't know that thing was this serious, actually. So, but to come back to tying it up for everybody, from all that you've heard today, I'm sure there might be people thinking I'm not privileged. I might not have a mentor that has access to governor. My parents might not be rich. I might not have those innovations. But I can tell you, for those that play golf, there's somebody there that's always second position.
is actually far richer than most people, right? And this is the point I'm trying to make. You don't necessarily have to be the first in everything. There's some people that are meant to be team players. There's some people that when there's a president, you're meant to help them. But I keep telling everybody, brighten that small corner that you're in. All that everybody has said today is about value. I see a lot of our colleagues. Number one, you're perhaps not the brightest in the office that you're working. Number two, maybe you're even challenged. Then on top of it, you are lazy. My brother, there is no prayer, nobody that can help you. I tell people, it's about the time you spend. And the religion I practice, they say if you're not good in the little that you've been assigned to, who will assign your own to you? And what I see most days, recently, I don't think you were there was one event I was invited to, and I made a comment. So this my gentle friends went on X and they dragged me. And the comment I made was, when I was trying to grow up, I used to spend at least 20 hours. Calculate whatever number it is that is important to you. And the question they asked me was, is there anything called work-life balance? And I say it only exists for those people that their parents are rich, those people that have made it either whatever way. Or even Trump, I'm not sure there's anything called work-life balance for him. He has to work all through. And my philosophy has always been this: if you're not 45, see, once you're 45 years old, your life is fixed. 45 and above, there's nothing you can change. But for as long as you're less than 45, you have no business, as far as I'm concerned, with work-life balance. Your business is staying at that game, and then of course, providing value. If my brother here had not provided a value to his own mentor, please sir, how would they have changed you from a bag carrier to a technical person, technical advisor, to now becoming appointed by the government? And it's okay also not to be from a privileged background. I do not honestly think I'm from one. Maybe I'm now privileged, or my kids are privileged now. But I had to walk my way all through. Just this morning, I came here early, but I was meant to be, of course, I came in from Court of Appeal because I needed to be supporting somebody that had some matters that if I call it all of you know it here. And I was sought out from somewhere to join the team because of just one thing, the value I was going to provide. And the only thing I would like to say to you is this. Also, maybe you're 1 year post-call, 2 year post-call. Know that all these things that they've said is time. Bros, to build your organizations or your companies, did it take you 1 day? Years and years of perhaps failure, perhaps disappointment, perhaps not even being able to work clearly as much as they would want to, not even perhaps having the money or the funds you would like to have. But one thing I am sure, between all the speakers, what they've said, at least I'm sure, you will spend a lot of time on this. Number two, you would have to give a lot of value. And value is the currency that we all spend. By the way, they say time and chance happen to them all. But you can create your time and your chance. And I say to people, even in service, in ESCO, or those people that organized this event, imagine this branding that they did here, they did not do it well. Or hanging it, they did not hang it well. Who is going to give you another one to do? And by the way, there will always be people that will complain about life. You have a choice. Join them and complain. You see those boys that are already making it, they will do it. And I've not come here to say that you have to be an SAN or you have to be break a record. No. Once you have a value, even as a judicial officer, even as somebody that works in government organization, even as somebody that is innovative, even as somebody in whatever, as a business person, the only thing, and by the way, for yourself. So most of the things I tell people to do, I say do it for yourself. And you can tell, and I tell people, future is not far. It's really like that. We're in November already, end of the year, another year is gone. What have you done with yourself? What value have you created? What time have you spent? Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Let's say a round of applause. Now, because of why I left this, because of the way the program started a little bit late, we'll take questions now and take closing remarks together with the. So once the question comes, we'll go straight to the speaker. They give their closing remark. I'll just take it around like that, 2 minutes, and we are done. So if you have any question, just quickly raise up your hand. We can take your question. One, yes. Any other question? 1, 2, yes. Another one? Okay, good. So we'll take these 2 questions straight, please.
The chairman of the panel, distinguished members of the bar, ministers here present. My name is Adam Kole Isaac Ababa. I really want to appreciate the symposium so far. My question goes to Mrs. Shogulana, who spoke on media law practice.
Okay, I think there will be a session for that. We just want to take questions in respect of this panel here. If you have any question for the panelists. Oh, okay, so there's a question of the panelists there. Oh, okay. Good. So go ahead, sir.
All right, sir. I appreciate your session then, and I want to ask a question on cultural mindset, especially bordering on the online space. How can you call the excesses of cultural mindset? The second question is on handling digital divide. Considering emerging technologies as a young lawyer and limited resources, how do you tackle that? Then the third question and the most important is on cyberbullying. Considering what Very Dark Man is doing, considering what happened to a very young lawyer lately, our colleague, who ordinarily should give out her phone number, and subsequently the intending client saw himself going viral and decided to sue her for a whooping sum of 200 million naira. So how do you tackle the issue of digital scheme, considering that she made a harmless video and the video has turned out to be a lawsuit?
Thank you, Mr.
Please, I need you to provide answers to these questions. Thank you.
Please give him a round of applause to attend to that question. I think what we're going to do is we'll take our closing remarks here, and for those of us that can address that question, we'll also go ahead and make their contributions to that. So that once we close, we give Mr. Ogulani to just come and take the answer to that question so that we don't go further here. So, sir, please go ahead, sir.
Chairman of the section, other panelists. I think I don't need to belabor ourselves with introduction. My name is Clement Chukwemeka Denebe. And my question has to, I have to join with the issue of mentorship as per the last panel, and currently the diversification. So when we are talking about this diversification and the mentorship program, I don't know if we have taken into consideration most of our youths, most of our young lawyers who are almost, I think, virtually about 3 sets comes out from law school in a year currently. We have not talked about these young, our members who come out without knowing anybody. Because if you look at the panelists, there is none that you can say that can maybe that does not know one person or the other in getting to where they are. There are majority of our young ladies and men, most of them, their parents must have suffered a lot to even drive out one little cash just to sponsor them from to law school. Now, what opportunities do we have as leaders, because I'm coming towards the leadership of the NBA this time around, because I love the way my sister there spoke that NBA need to do a lot. We are talking about limitless possibilities. These are leadership. We are asking now, any person can take up this. What are we doing in making sure that our young lawyers who do not know anybody, you understand, when they come to join us, will have opportunity to start something before, a little baby must always crawl before he walks. Not only that, because we have to give an example. There was a particular administration that dropped 1.5 billion naira for MBA for access to finance for those who do not have money to start up something. Our administration made that money. I don't know where that money is up to now.
Okay, sir.
So we want you to build on that, and so that our young people will know that they have something in MBA, but our leaders are not providing it for them to use it. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Let me ask the other part. Okay, so sir, with your kind permission, let us see. I'm not the chairman of the panel. I can't be chairman when let us see this. I'm just a moderator, sir, so that I don't get into trouble. You know what I'm about that. Okay, so this is how we're going to do it now, so that we'll wrap up quickly. So there is a question here. I want everyone to attempt to respond to that question and just give us your concluding remark, and we'll start with the learning. Okay, there's one more question. One more question. Yeah. Our former national chairman governing council of the MPU, please give him a round of applause, Mr. Aboki. And our SANs are here, Mr. Since the program started, please let's give a round of applause. We appreciate you for staying with us, despite knowing that you are already here, but you still want to learn more. We are grateful, sir, and our most distinguished chairman. Thank you very much, sir.
Okay, good afternoon, gentlemen. I was going to make a remark about the issue of value and mentorship, which I totally align with. Not to my senior brother, Mr. Democrat, made some comments, and just permit me to clarify some things, which is very important, so that we don't live here with the wrong notion. We have very, very distinguished speakers as panelists up here. We have Mr. Atuibiesen, who personally I refer to as the face of wildlife, being the youngest, or one of the youngest SMs to have ever made it. We have Mr. I'll ask a question about that. It's important that I respond. We have Mr. Ibrahim. We know what he does. We have you. We have Yaz. We have a lecturer. So I think it would be unfair, totally unfair, to say these people know they need connection to be up there. I think that is totally unfair. Secondly, on the issue of 1.5 billion, I think it's totally unrelated to this session. This is not a question related to this panel. And if there is anything indicting on that past administration, he's part of it. He's part of it. So he should tell us where that money is.
Thank you, sir. We would assume that question. We didn't ask that question. Thank you, former chairman of the MBA governing council. So let me just say, sir, you go ahead. There is an issue with mentorship, and there is another issue with respect. I don't know, chairman, where is Mr. There's one more question, two more questions. I hope it's not political, please.
Thank you very much, everybody. I'll take from my last gentleman here. I'll give you two examples. First, when my wife finished from masters, and she said she was looking for a job, and of course everybody expects I'll give them a job. So I told her, I said, draw up the list of the best HR firms that you know in Abuja. And she says, why? I said, draw it up first, then come back to me. She did that. So I told her, go and work for them for free. Now, work for them for free for 6 months. If you have any value, you see those that own their businesses, they are not stupid. For all of you that were clapping about what is MBA doing, you can see people here. Come and work for them for free 6 months, if you can dare it. And if you're able to do that, and you outperform, and by by the way God works, you see all those offices that you're going to, there are disgruntled people, there are people that don't want to work, there are people that complain. If you go there and work 6 months, like my brother here did for AB Mahmoud, and he's now a government official, go and work there for 6 months, right? And outperform everybody. I can tell you in less than 2 years, perhaps will be the top most paid person in that firm. That's on another hand. Also, you did not graduate with first class. You didn't graduate with 2-1. You have not done any internship from beginning of your life till you graduated law school, and you come with a pass and you feel entitled and you should be employed. Please, if you are the owner of the business, judge yourself. The point I'm making is this. I wrote something very recently, and I told them, I said, the only business you have to do while in school is ensuring that you are the best of the best of the best of the best in your class. Do you think I'm not looking for to employ someone that got a first class? Do you think I'm not looking for that person? Of course you know the answer. I'm looking for someone that has gotten first class, because I am trying to deliver a first class service to my clients. And of course I will pay you to the best of my ability. And the point I'm making is this: if any office, and there are so many office owners here, would you rather pick somebody that has gotten first class, or somebody that you know that is complaining, is entitled, and got a third class that will not come to work? Please, don't worry, you don't need Google, you can ask them. Lastly, for me, I think we should stop pushing our personal responsibilities to either government or the leaders. You're entitled to, it is your personal right to wake up early by 5 o'clock and come back to your house by 2 a.m. because you're hustling. And by the way, I'm not permitted to call T-Pay, and I've not even called it. But you know that that thing is outside. They also called one Sapa before. It's the way life is. And last point is to say that manage your expectations for yourself. I recently told somebody that while I was on this journey, I only had 2 trousers and 5 shirts. 5 white shirts. Everybody can tell. If you have white shirt, if you wash it every week, it cannot change color. Because white will only change to white and further white. But I'll see people wearing all sorts. And I'm like, are you sure you know where you're going to? And you know, if you manage what your expectation is about life for yourself, then at some point you perhaps will be like, my brother here that is doing it well. And like I've said, look for any office in this life that you know that that's what, even the top tier, go and work for them for free. And you see what God will do through them. Thank you. Thank you very much. Soft light. Let's make the comments now first. Please, just the comment.
I just want to make the panelists, I just want to make a comment. Hearing from my namesake, I just want to say 1 or 2 things about us, young lawyers. Okay, I run an office, but one thing I've discovered is that almost everybody working with me now actually have been with me for at least 4 years before they start working. What did they do? Most of them intern in my office right from their 100 level in school. How many of us have interned in school? Yes, we say that it's a beneficial thing to them because it gives facilities and we feel responsible to them. And that is, when they are going back to school, we are compelled to have them, please bring up a list of books, please take a stipend to take to school. So we started a partnership that actually started years before they became lawyers. So I want to say this because to notice what my brother Mewa said, you need to make yourself, put yourself out there. Stop being entitled and think that, okay, because I am a lawyer and I can do this and whatever. Yes, the concept, what my brother Democrat said, there is also a concept of responsibility of association. when you belong to an association, there are some things that are automatically expected because you are submitting your rights and privileges to the association so that I'm going to look after you also. So also that aspect is there. But the truth is that a lot of us need to, on our own, take some lead. That, like you said, I don't know you, you're walking up to me. But if you walk up to me and say, I don't really want to work with you, I just want to learn. You are setting a trap for me. You may not know it. Because by the time you start coming to the office, I cannot see you come to my office for 1 week, knowing the situation of the economy, and I will not be moved to be responsible to you. But when you think, oh, you come to me, you sit on the table and said, I want my salary should be 500,000. I will look at you and assess you. Okay, 500,000 what you want. What value am I getting this escape from this? I can tell you, it's not that I'm trying to talk down on young lawyers, but the truth is that most of the things in practice are not taught in schools. Even communication as a lawyer is something you learn on the job. Writing a lawyer's letter is different from writing to your girlfriend. The language you are going to use is different, and you must convey the message. All these things are things you learn on the job. I'm telling you, most of the people working with me, before they actually became members, they could all do all this because they intern with us year after year. But a lot of us enjoy holiday, traveling, and taking a vacation. Why these young people are working? So please, let's take their mindset so that we can also benefit from all these limited opportunities.
Thank you very much. Thank you, sir. So we'll take quickly from you.
Okay, I think a lot has been said about the wrong assumption projected that people that have led it or people that are on this panel, they have got into the positions that they are in because they knew one or two people at the top. I have shared my life story with you earlier on. I didn't know anybody. Even with the challenges that I faced, I graduated as the best graduating student in myself. And when I started my practice, I took up a lot of cases pro bono. So what I would advise you is if you want to be known, get involved, put yourself out there. One of the things that I noticed with our colleagues is that we don't take interest in what is going on in government. Look at the process of lawmaking, for example. How many of us have participated in public hearing at the National Assembly? Bills will be considered, public hearings will be called. We are lawyers. We are the ones that are going to apply these laws. Either as judges if we are on the bench, or as lawyers if we are advocates, or as if we are solicitors and advisors, we are the ones to review these laws. But we don't take the time to go through the bills and make an input so that our voices will be heard before final decisions are being made. I'll just give you 2 examples. In the area of my practice, energy law, under the last dispensation, under the Electric Power Sector Reform Act 2005, there is a provision in Section 80 that allows for payment of compensation to consumers that do not enjoy regular power supply. When the new dispensation was being considered, the Electricity Act 2023, that provision was taken out. If lawyers participated and actually highlighted this and fought for the retention of that, and now we are faced with class actions from us with all these incessant power failures that we're facing, do you think that the government agencies will not sit up? Rather, what we have in this present dispensation are just some vague provisions in Section 119 and 120 about consumer protection and performance standards, which I'm sure maybe some lawyers will want to test, but will not be as strong as the earlier provision that specifically says that compensation must be paid if you do not enjoy regular power supply. And now we are now being forced to be in this segregated banding tariff. I do not know about you, but I know that I didn't choose to be under the tariff that I'm in. And as lawyers, you don't have to really go to court to challenge, but you can write, you can speak about it. I think that we should be able to ask very difficult questions. Why is it that we were not given the opportunity to determine in which band we want to be in? We know that we have the challenge of the format of the supply of electricity through the wires, but as clusters, can't we adopt the format of willing buyer, willing seller for the clusters to determine in which band they want to be in? And if you are in a particular band and you are given a guarantee that this is the power that you're going to receive, if you don't receive it, what are the remedies that you should get? Well, we should put ourselves out there and fight the causes that actually not only affect the general public, but also affect us. That's my take.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Just on the fact, I think that there is no need for us to be very emotional about things that are supposed to be issue-based. I think if you're a very good student of history or you read a lot of books, you will attest to the fact that strong value proposition is really the pathway to limitless possibilities. So if you think that as an individual you don't have connections, but you can have good grades, or you can outperform everybody. That's really just the key issue. I think that as young people and as young lawyers, we must aspire to great things, and we must be able to provide a very strong value proposition. Because guess what? The world makes a way for people that are prepared. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Wow, I actually have so much to say, but there's so little time. I didn't know anyone either when I started my career. Starting a law firm, I had friends who their fathers were SANs, judges, they had all the connections. I felt like I had to build from scratch, but still, look at where we are today. So it's tough, but it's very possible. As a woman, you face all sorts. Most people who wanted to give me a job wanted to sleep with me first. So you have to face that hurdle. You have to face so many hurdles. And I remember one of my mentors at the time, who was a lawyer, saying that just be excellent at what you do. Another problem I had why I left litigation was that I felt that there was so much corruption, actually, in litigation. So a lot of bribery, a lot of all this stuff. And I had people tell me, why should I pay a lawyer when I can pay a judge? I had a lot of potential clients saying that. So I said, you know what? Let me focus on advisory. Let me focus on consultancy. Let me work with international organizations who have code of conduct and ethics, who will not try to do anything silly with me, because I know that I can sue them and get a lot of money. So this is my own niche that I have for myself. So each and every one of us, we can say that there's this obstacle or there's something that can make us stop us, but it's at the end of the day, if you're excellent, it's a universal language and you will thrive. And then the final thing I want to talk about is this whole access to justice and pro bono. The first cases I used to do were pro bono cases, like she mentioned. I won an award in 2018 from the Vice President of Nigeria. And that got a lot of, I got a lot of recognition from that, because I was doing it quietly. I didn't even know I was going to get an award for it. We need to care about what is happening in our nation. I call myself a nation builder. We lawyers are the conscience of the society, and I feel that there's a role we need to play in public interest law, access to justice, preserving the rule of law and institutions in Nigeria, because if we don't do that, we won't even have a pie to discuss. People are not going to come and invest. I travel all around the world, and investors are saying, look, I don't want to come to Africa, I don't want to come to Nigeria because I don't want to go to jail because of corruption. Their countries have rules and regulations. But guess what? Even if our government, let's say our politicians are corrupt, can our lawyers be different? Can we as lawyers say that, yes, we have a corrupt country, but lawyers in Nigeria are known to they give them basketballs? Can our lawyers, and that's my call actually for young lawyers. We don't have to corrupt ourselves. We don't have to be like maybe the older generation. I'm not saying everybody in the older generation, obviously there are good ones. But there are some who have also compromised themselves. So if we do that, then we can increase investment flows into this country. We can have bigger transactions, and more lawyers will have more to share, more briefs. So it's a collective effort. The lawyers, the MBA, and all the stakeholders. So that's my final take and my call to action. Excellence, ethics, values, and consistency. It's possible. Limitless possibilities.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
I believe all speakers have addressed the subject matter to a very deep extent. But one thing I would like to add is we can't talk about limitless possibilities without talking about the grace of God. You can be hardworking, you can be valuable, you might even have connections and not still succeed. There's so many people that know people at high places that came into business or even law with money and were not able to get to anywhere. So to the young lawyers and to everyone here, we should not still forget the fact that in all we do, we must pray. We must pray for access, pray for opportunity, pray for clarity and pray for growth. Thank you.
Well, like Chineye said, there is so much to say and there's no time. But I'm struck by the comment of the question about lawyers, young lawyers, crying about not being given opportunities or not being supported by the NP and all that. For the past 15 years of my dedicated in molding, developing, and producing lawyers, I will never ask that question. Lawyers, I will never sit down and be waiting for someone to create a space for them to do something. We have been focused on teaching, knowledge, skills, and values. And we are concerned that if you got these three together, then you got no time to wait for anybody to do anything for you. Because you are going to charge the cost for yourself, you are going to show value, like he said, value prescription. You are going to show the value. In fact, the value will be showing yourself, whether you like it or not, and people will know that you are different. So this is it. I think this is big for me, for the young lawyers. Please wake up, show what you have. If you don't have it, learning is continuous for a lawyer. That's why we are talking about new areas. When I talk about cybersecurity, when I talk about the Internet of Things, when I talk about cryptocurrency and everything that's happening, this is a bigger market for the lawyers. And lawyers should begin to go there. You'll be playing with your phone and enjoy yourself, and yet you are making value. Because you cannot be a lawyer in that space until you continue to learn every day. You must know what is happening, because technology changes by minutes. And you must follow the trend of what is going on before you can provide advice for your client. That means you need to learn, and you need to keep learning. That's a challenge. If you don't learn, you can't be a lawyer in cyberspace. You can't be a lawyer in anything that has to do with cybersecurity, because it changes every day. And the good news for you is that the legal framework is developing now. It is now developing, so you can be part of that. You can provide advocacy for the government even. You can even help yourself in making sure that you are part of the growth of this legal framework. And that's a good space for you. So I think for me, please, young lawyers, stop thinking about somebody or NPO or anybody not giving you a startup. Start your startup by yourself. Please, cut your knees, like you said, and start moving there, and you'll be on the top of it. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Limitless possibility is important. Get you to respond, but you have to allow our session go, man. I'm so sorry. Limitless possibility is possible, right? Is that a tautology or something? But you know you have to bring something on the table, please. And what is that thing you're bringing on the table from what all our speakers have said today? Value. You need to make nobody. I didn't know anybody. I slept in NYC camp night when I came to this town. I had the opportunity to go and stay with my brother, but I said I would not stay. And from there, I knew I wanted to be a teacher and I wanted to practice. By the grace of God today, I'm a law teacher, teaching for 9 years now. I have my own full-time practice working with some of my colleagues. I have my own house. I'm not renting. I have my own office. It's for me. I didn't rent it. So, yes, the most important part of it is that you need God, but you also need to have value. There are some places today that they will mention dialogue. It's because I have done a lot of free cases for them. And that is how it happens. So please, take advantage of this opportunity. Take most of the tips that have been given by our esteemed panelists. Take advantage of it today. And also hold the God you worship. And at the end of the day, with limited possibility is a reality. Thank you very much for your time. We have come to the end of this session.
On behalf of the Abuja branch of the NBA Young Leaders Forum, I present this to you. word of the recognition to the contribution to this fund. Thank you, Dr. This is Miss Muhammad. Maybe I'm just advertising. The recognition of your needs Wildlife Summit 2024. Thank you very much. Honorable Ibrahim Abdullahi. Because what is I don't like Ibrahim for the Honorable Ibrahim. So, my brother is contribution to the Wildlife Summit. Thank you very much for all the great MBA parts. Dr. Nassim, thank you very much for being a leader, teaching our people, our young learners, on how to be independent and not to be they're so dependent that we feeling entitled and said expecting really good manners to come from heaven. Thank you, Dr. Bisbito, and this for your contribution to the Wildlife Summit 2024. Thank you. The whole Monday is thank you very much for your contribution to the NBA Wildlife Abuja. Thank you very much on behalf of the Oh, you are the casting of the channel. Well, I can now understand the plan that of what you want. Lost okay. That section is exceptional. Thank you. We are proud of you.
Sorry.
Thank you very much for conducting this session and directing it in a way that the evidence practice on information and experience the benefit of the young man. Thank you very much.
Alright, thank you so very much and congratulations on your awards. So we are going to be presenting Jennifer Ben, please you are up next. Jennifer Ben, for your immense contribution to the NBA and congratulations. Muhammad Nasir Abdullahi, please you are up next. Congratulations. Alice Ewa Henshaw, please, for your recognition. Simiat Suleiman. Marilyn Upa. Ramlas, congratulations. Ibuchim J. Woody, Ibuchim. Ikechukwu Daniel, for your next contribution to the NBA. Ikechukwu Daniel. So please align yourselves for a group picture, a very quick one, just before you go down. Oh, this is now university. Congratulations and thank you so much for coming. Well done to your school for letting you come. University of Abuja, being represented by this amazing lady. Yes, the team members are celebrating you. Congratulations. Thank you so much for coming. Law students, congratulations to you and thank you so much for coming. After, please come up for 5 minutes. For your practice paper presentation, please come up for 5 minutes.
Emeka Obigolu, SAN. He is unavoidably absent. He had to leave for another meeting. So I will just make it very quick so that we can get going. The area of discourse is a very interesting one. It talks about thriving practice. I do not know that experienced enough in that area, but I mean, I will do justice to what my Oga has sent me to do. But before then, can we kindly just sit down and spare a few minutes so that we can get this thing over and done with, please? Can we just be seated, please? I will recognize the presence of the Ibadan chairman who came all the way. Thank you so much for coming, sir. We are most grateful. We are happy to have you here. A round of applause for him, please. So when we talk about thriving practice for young lawyers, I mean, it's pretty straight to the point and very punchy. We look at areas that would help us develop. I will start this session with a very short story. 2 days ago, someone called and said they wanted help to get transferred to another law firm for externship. And what was the nature of the help? The principal of the law firm passed on, and the law firm to partnerships. And he told me, and he said, because partnerships is the way to go if you are able to properly harness it and properly understand it. Now, the world has become a global village. We must understand that you can't be jack of all trades and master of all. You must pick a part of the practice and then hone your skills. So what partnerships will do is that it gives you a complement of another brilliant mind that helps you to do something else that you are not necessarily proficient in. So if you want to enjoy thriving practice, you might want to reconsider that area. What that also does for you is that your practice, the office, is sustained even long after you have gone. That's what partnerships can do. So I'm starting from that point, because if you're looking at thriving practice, you should consider partnerships. That's a very good way to go. But above all, you must first of all consider the interests of your clients. I'm sure my big bosses seated here will tell you that recommendation comes by word of mouth and not necessarily by the big signboards that you see. So basically, you must also do all that you can to ensure that you keep all your clients properly satisfied. Legally, do that which they want to do and do it neatly, and at the end of the day, you will discover that that's a whole milestone for you. Because if one person feels you have done a good job, then the person introduces you to several other people who become your clients and help you grow your business. So that's another area. And we must also treat the law profession like a business. We must always check our cash inflow and check what we spend it on. If you don't treat your law profession like a business, I'm sorry, you'll end up broke. That's the simple hard news fact. So you must treat it like a business. You must, if monies come, and you want to buy a car, you want to buy a house, you want to live large, you want to throw parties, and for example, you have not paid your secretary, and you have not earmarked monies to sustain salaries, you would end up just being indebted and you would literally wind up. Yes, it's difficult to say as a young lawyer because most often than not, we as young lawyers are attached to other law firms. But we can also start off pretty early, which is why I started by saying, look, we should consider partnerships for starters. I know you want to do CAC, I know you also want to do litigation, I know you also want to do copyright. It's very okay. But you must, while you are attending to all of these things, you must find a niche. There has to be a niche that you find and you run with that vision. Because honestly speaking, when all is said and done, what matters is what you have to offer. And not just the fact that you know everything. What you have to offer in a particular field of endeavor is what matters the most. And I'll give a quick example and I'll round up with that. When Nikon Logger was converted into Transcorp Hilton, the president's friend, who was a lawyer, did that whole corporate CAC brief for 250 million at the time. Yes. 250 million during Obasanjo's regime. Now, I can tell you for free that the Leonard Siko didn't touch that file. I'm sure a junior in his office picked it up. I mean, I can ask anybody here and you can tell me from your fingertips, you can tell me how to change, how to convert. Am I correct? Am I correct? Yes. You guys can tell me right now how to get it sorted out. I took 250 million to do. You know why? The first thing I said, recommendation by word of mouth. Because somebody knew that he could do it. Because the president of the country believed in the person at the time, that he had carved out a niche for himself. He gave him the brief to do. Secondly, because he had shown himself deserving of it. So I would end up by telling you a story that one of our bar leaders used to tell us during our branch meetings. He would say young lawyers will be walking around, eating mango on the streets, eating sugar cane on the streets, and eating maize all over the place, and not comporting themselves right. I was a young lawyer at the time, and I always tell myself that, what did this man even talk safe? I'm gonna catch you, go chop. But over time, I've come to discover that the way we comport ourselves matters a lot. Somewhere out there is taking cognizance of what you are doing. Someone out there is noticing everything that you are doing, and recommendations will come simply because of your outlook, how people even view you is the basis upon which people will recommend you for jobs to be done. Well, I believe that it's been an eventful day for everybody. All the speakers that have spoken have said things that we do not need to repeat. I would conclude by saying, for everything that you have been able to learn here, for that one thing that you have been able to capture, for that one single thing that has stuck and has struck you, modify it, work with it, and don't give up no matter what happens. Keep going at your vision. It might take some time, but keep working at it. And I'm sure that in the end, we will all be successful lawyers by the grace of God. Thank you so very much, and have a wonderful evening.
Thank you so very much, sir. Thank you. You ended. We had finally like 17 times, but yeah, thank you so much for keeping to time, sir. All right, so we like to recognize more names, and of course to say that we have another 60 seconds to listen to the YLF NBA Jos, and he will be speaking to us on behalf of all the YLF chairmen who are present here today. So please, YLF NBA preachers, please come up for your 60 seconds of your goodwill message.
Permit me to stand on the already established protocol. On behalf of YLF chairmen of various branches, we want to congratulate the Unity Bar for this well-organized leadership summit. Indeed, those that are not here have actually missed a lot. It's a summit that you will not want to miss for anything. And we want to commend the organizers of this summit. We want to equally commend the ESCO of Unity Bar for putting up this very wonderful summit. And it is our prayer that this will continue. It will not just stop with this administration. It's something that it should continue, because as far as I'm concerned, if I wasn't here, I think I would have not forgiven myself. So I had to take the pain all the way from Jos to ensure that I attend this program, and it's worth it. And I'm pretty sure that everybody here is going home with something. But we urge this to be an annual event such that it will keep spurring us to do better, and the bar will be greater for it. Thank you very much, and congratulations once more.
Thank you so very much. Please celebrate him one more time. And we're coming to the end of celebrations that we do. Alright, so I'd like to thank everyone on behalf of the organizers for coming through and staying till this moment. Thank you so much. And to say that people who made it quite earlier than more than anyone else in the room, you are the real VVIPs, I mean RSVP. Thank you so much. Now I'd like to bring up for thank you for participating speech who would like to call vote of thanks, the chairman planning committee of this summit in the person of Adekunle Olanipeku. Please celebrate him as he comes up stage.
I'm aware two of our panelists for the first session were unable to give their closing remark, and they would like to do that. The worship, I don't know if you still want to give the closing remark. Okay, please, you can come forward. And please, Mojirayo too, please. I was aware that there was a question asked and you would like to give your answer to. Please, you have, I don't know if you can do that in a minute, please. Alright, please. The worship, both of you, please. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, and I appreciate the organizers once again. For my closing remark, I would only include those of you who seated back to leave the bottom part to benefit from this. There is always a way out. You know what it costs you to make your clothes, what it costs you to fix your makeup. You can learn to do these things yourself and save that money for something else. These are part of the things I did that kept me in the profession, not falling for the temptation of going to work in a bank. I knew I had my passion in this profession, so I devised means to have a comfortable life while doing what I love to do. Thank you.
Thank you so much, everyone, for staying back. I'm happy that you're still here to listen to this. I'm doing something very unprecedented, and I've been doing it for the past 9 years. I have a law firm that is just basically virtual. There is no physical anywhere, but if there's going to be physical, it will be for picking up documents. So it's not easy. When you think about the digital space, you think about everything. Imagine running a law firm basically digital, and somebody shuts down the digital space. That is a problem. So there are so many advantages in the digital digital space, but we spend so much time and energy dealing on the cyber crimes and all those things. Those things are issues. And I can tell you that I have drafted a prosecutorial manual for online gender-based violence for an organization. They are yet to launch it. But this prosecutorial manual delves into how you can get criminals on the internet space into the courtrooms. And if you have a very good and smart prosecutor. So I'm telling you that there are issues like cyber crimes, bullying and all that. It's all about identifying the bully. There is a case right now that I'm going to be handling. 100 women who have suffered digital rights violence and all that in the digital space. And the good thing was that we could pick out the culprits. And so that kind of person will go to court and we'll have 100 women prosecution and then 100 women in the constitutional courts. Let me put it like that. They don't use that here. But I'm just saying that there are issues, there are problems, but look at the advantages of the digital space. There are so many advantages in the digital space. So thank you very much.
So much once again. Alright. On behalf of the Young Lawyers from NBA Abuja, I would like to extend our profound gratitude to all attendees. Thank you for taking your time. Especially, we want to recognize Right Honorable Yakub Dogara, the keynote speaker, the guest speaker, Are Olomuyiwa Akimbo, Senior Advocate of Nigeria, Emeka Obegolu, Alpha Musigo, Senior Advocate of Nigeria, the branch chairman, Mr. Steve Emeleze, we thank you. To all our panelists, thank you so much for taking our time to join us on this August occasion. I also want to give a shout out to everyone here, and also we have people online that have been streaming from morning till now. We want to give a shout out to you. You are the real MVP. Thank you for joining. And also everyone that have been here since morning, those that came late, everyone still in the hall. We want to say thank you, thank you, thank you. On behalf of the Governing Council of YLF Abuja, I want to say a big thank you. And also I want to give a shout out, please. I really want every one of us to stand up and do this for me. My secretary, Rolake Akimbo, could not be here. She has been a very pivotal member of the team. She got sick, she's hospitalized. I just want us to give a shout out to her, please. And probably a chorus. Rolake, we love you. Rolake, I'm sure you're streaming right now. We love you. On behalf of Young Lawyers in Abuja, I want to appreciate your efforts, your commitment to the success of this occasion. Thank you. And I also wish all of our delegates that traveled far and near safe trip back to their destination. Thank you everyone once again. Have a safe trip.
Thank you so very much, Mr. Kunle Olanikwekun. And yes, thank you so very much, everyone. And to Rolake, God bless you. Quick recovery. We love you from everyone in the room. So we've called it a day at the Young Lawyers Summit 2024, and we've looked at limitless possibilities, unlocking the powers of young lawyers. Congratulations to everyone who made it. We'll see you again another time.
Thank you so much. We really appreciate you, and I appreciate you, Ruth, for making it a wonderful sojourn up to this moment. Till we meet again, it may not be the same time, but definitely it's the same station. I remain Oluwasho, and this is Ruth. Thank you, and have a wonderful day.